Hi, Flutes, and thanks for checking out this video. In this video, we're going to be working on just trying to switch our fingerings up between each note. I know that flute, I usually say, is one of the harder instruments, at least to start. It's hard because you don't get a chance to look at your fingerings while you're playing. Now, like with clarinet, even though it's out in front of you, you can still kind of glance down every once in a while to see where your fingerings are. Trumpet, same thing. You can see the fingerings right in front of you. Trombone. With flute, it's the opposite. Your fingerings are off at the side, and you can't see, other than your peripheral vision, you cannot see your fingers and making sure whether you're pressing the right keys or not. The other thing that makes flute hard to start is just getting used to actually making a sound by blowing over the tone hole and making sure that you're splitting your air on this little metal piece. Remember, you want some of your air when you're playing to go out, and not all your air is going to go down into the flute. Some of your air is going to split and go out, and then some of the air is going to split and go down and then off to the side. So what we want to work on today in the flute to make it a little bit easier and hopefully something that you'll be able to practice is getting used to your fingerings while you're practicing. So we're going to use just your B-flat scale, your concert B-flat scale, which for 5th grade goes from low B-flat all the way up to high B-flat. And if you're in 4th grade, you're just looking from right now B-flat all the way up to F. So let's look at those fingerings just really quick. So if you have that fingering chart, you can pull it out and you can use that scale page to help you. I'm going to just run through these fingerings really quick, and then I'm going to give you a tip to try to help practice that so you can get used to it and make it a little bit easier as you go along. So let's start with the first fingering. So whether you're in 4th or in 5th grade, this will be helpful to you. We're going to start with just our B-flat. So if you remember our B-flat fingering, we're pressing our thumb, we're pressing our first finger here, we are pressing our ring finger here, and remember, we always skip this key in between our first finger. And then we press our ring finger. There is no pinky. We don't use our pinky for almost any key right now on our left hand. And then down at the right, you want to make sure that you're on the right keys. Don't make sure your hand doesn't slip too far up. Mine has 3 holes that kind of guide me to it. Yours might not, but you want to make sure that it's the 3 fingerings right before the pinky key. But for B flat, you're pressing just your first finger, your thumb in your left hand, and your first finger and your pinky in your right hand. And then we're going to go up to C. For C, you're going to lift up your thumb and your first finger, so you're just pressing your first finger and your pinky. Then we're going up to in alphabetical order to D. Now again, we've mentioned this in the previous video, but for D, you're basically pressing the exact opposite of what C is. You're going to press your thumb, you're going to press your ring finger, middle finger and ring finger, and you're going to lift up your first finger from C. Then you're going to press everything in your right hand other than your pinky. And then for the next note, E flat, you're just going to add your pinky to that D. So nothing changes other than pressing this pinky key. Now here we're going to have a little bit of a change when we go up to F. You're going to press your first finger and keep everything else down in your left hand. But then in your right hand, you're going to keep your first finger and your pinky down, but lift up your middle finger and ring finger. That is F. Now, if you're in 4th grade, you could stop there if you'd like, or you can try and play along with the rest of it with 5th grade. So for our F to G, we're going to just lift up our first finger to go up to the next note, which is G. And then we're going up to A, and again, all we're doing is making the instrument smaller. So now we're just going to lift up our ring finger in our left hand. So we're just lifting up one finger to go up to A. And now the fun part is high B flat. It's the same exact fingering as low B flat, except you just have to change where you're blowing your air direction. So you kind of have to blow a little bit smaller embouchure, a little bit smaller hole, and blowing across that tone hole and splitting your air a little bit faster than the low B flat. So you're going to hear how I can split the difference between the high B flat and the low B flat. So that is our B-flat scale, and that's every fingering that we need to know in that B-flat scale, whether you're in 4th grade or in 5th grade. But what we're going to do here is now I want to give you a trick that'll help you when you're practicing to get used to being able to press those keys. So what you're going to do is we are going to start right at the bottom on B-flat. And you can do this basically with every note and note change that you're going in that B flat scale. So you're going to start on B flat, and what you're going to do is you're going to play it for a whole note, so for 4 beats. And then if you'd like, you can take a rest for 4 beats to find the very next fingering, which would be the next note. So when we're going from B flat, we're going to go B flat. Then we are going to take a rest after playing it and go up to C. So we're just going to go to that C fingering. We're going to play that for a whole note. And then we're going to maybe take a rest if you'd like, or you can skip the rest and go back down to B flat, play it for a whole note, and then back up. Then what you do, after you get used to doing that, whether you include that rest in there or without the rest, then you go and cut it to half notes. Make it even a smaller change, so you have to change it a little bit faster. So we'll start, here's the whole notes that we're going to do. I'm going to include just one time a whole rest in between going from B flat to C. So you can play along with me. Here's your B flat, ready, and go. I'm going to rest for 4 beats and find my C fingering. 3, 4. Then you can go back to B flat. Then back to C. Now I'm going to try doing that without including a rest in there. I want to just be able to have a switch from B flat to C. Now when I'm holding B flat, I want to think, what is my fingering going to do for the next note while I'm playing that B flat? Then I might want to make that even smaller down to half notes. Ready, and go. Then I might even want to make it even smaller and go down to quarter notes. That'll just get you used to going back and forth between 2 different notes. Now you want to do that with every note in that scale. And the one that's probably going to be the trickiest is going to be going from that C to that D. Again, those are the keys that we mentioned, that they have basically the opposite fingering, where C, you're pressing your first finger and your pinky, and then D, you press everything that you didn't press and lift up everything else that you were pressing for C. So this is where you're going to want to do that, and take it slow at first. Start with a whole note, then go down the half notes, and then the quarter notes. And if you need to, include a rest in between those notes before you try to do it without a rest. So we're going to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go from C to D. I'm going to include I'm going to have a whole note, then a whole rest, then a whole note D, then back to a whole rest, then back to C. Then I'm going to go to whole notes without a rest. Then I'll go down to half notes without a rest, and then quarter notes. So you can listen first, and you can hear how I'm going to do it, and then you can rewind it and play it again with me. Here we go. 1, 2, from C to D. Ready, and go. Whole rest. I'm going to find D. Whole rest. Back down to C. Whole rest. Back up to D. Now we're going to do it without a rest. Ready, and go. Now half notes. Ready, and go. Then quarter notes. So you can practice that on your own at home, and you can try going through every note just like that, between D and E flat, between E flat and F and G, G and A, if you're in 5th grade, and then you can try it even if you're in 4th grade. So give it a shot going through each of those different notes, and that'll just be a trick to helping you being able to switch fingerings between different notes. That way you can do it a little bit faster than having to spend a lot of time resting trying to find that next note. So I hope this is useful for you, and try giving it a shot and practice at home. This would be something that maybe you could do every day, even just as a warm-up as you're getting ready. All right, so hopefully you're staying safe and staying healthy, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.